last time, when we started talking about these isosceles triangles, we had, I'm just going to draw up a little diagram real quick. If the two sides, this side and this side, were congruent, what's up? Yeah. All right, so with our triangle, we have two congruent sides. What can we say what can we say about the relationship between the two angles that are opposite of of those sides? Who remembers? What's happening? If these two sides are congruent, what's going on with the base angles? What's that? Yeah, they're congruent, they're equal, they're going to be the same measurement as well. All right, so that was the goal, one of the two goals from last time. Then the other goal, with any triangle, it don't matter what type of triangle you have, it don't matter. You have your three angles, 1, 2, 3. What must the sum of your three angles of a triangle be? Any and all triangle. What must the sum of your three angles of a triangle must always add up to be? 180, very good. So that was the other thing we got to talk about. So angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3 is 180. Okay. So these are ideas we're going to be working with going forward throughout today and subsequent lessons between now and the end of the year. All right. So first, let's look at number 8. Now, I think number 8 is going to be the hardest one of the next several set of problems that we work on. Now, one thing's for certain. Notice how we have that triangle. 2 of the 3 sides are marked. But the last side, it's not marked. Is that better? Or is that too dark?
No, it's fine, it's fine.
All right. So we have these 2 sides that are congruent. So we have an isosceles triangle. Now, they gave us 2 angles, the 3x plus 8 and the 2x plus 20. Now, we don't know, we didn't get any information for this angle right here. However, given these 2 sides are congruent, this angle will be congruent to which one? Is it going to be the bottom one or the one to the left? The left one, because since the opposite sides are congruent, the base angles will be congruent. So this angle over here will also be 3x plus 8. So that's step number 1. That's a clue that you will need to write for that other angle. If you haven't done so, mark it. And again, the reason being, since these 2 sides, try again, since these 2 sides are congruent, the opposite angles are also congruent. So that's been the lesson from last time, and we're going to be working with that quite a bit. Now, the other part that we talked about, what must the sum of all 3 of your angles add up to be? What's the magic number? 180. So basically, your first 3x plus 8, so this you really need to write down, plus your second 3x plus 8, because these 2 angles are congruent. I'll put a highlight marker there. This angle, that angle are congruent because they're opposite angles of congruent sides. And then, of course, you can't forget the 2x plus 20. The sum of all three angles, as Jason said, adds up to 180. So that's, I'm just going to try to put everything in the same problem, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Okay, now, let's look at this polynomial here, this expression. Because the right side, this equals 180. Can we really do anything to the equals 180 bit? Can we really? You have to combine like terms. So the 180 we really can't touch.
So when you do 8 plus 8 plus 20?
Yes, that's step one. Let's do, very good, Andy. We have to add the 8, and the 20. What do we get?
36.
Good. You're going to need the plus 36. What else can we do?
3 plus 3 plus 2.
Which is?
8.
And then 8, is it 8 or 8 what?
8.
Have to include the x, but you're right. That's the other thing we had to do. We had to combine our like terms. Very good. So right here, combine like terms. So we'll abbreviate it as CLT. And then your second part, solve. Solve for x. In this case, we'll say solve for x, but it can be solved for the variable. And at this point, can we solve for x?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Have at it real quick. Let you try it. You should be about a minute as I update attendance. Yes. Sorry, yeah. This side over here is a different way from these two sides. So that's what we can have to come forward with trouble. That one, yeah, that one's fine. This one's okay. This is okay, but yeah, this one, we're going right now. All right, I'll update attendance. All right. Okay, anybody figure out the value of x for this problem? 18. I'm hearing 18. Anybody else 18? Alex, Jason, you both got 18? Anybody else 18? Anybody else try it? You got it too. Okay. Let's talk about what happened. All right, let's see what happened. All right, here's what happened. 8 times x plus 36 is 180. Well, remember, we have to get the 8x by itself. That's our goal. So we need to move to 36. So what's the opposite of plus 36? Have to subtract 36. Minus 36. I think I know what happened. 180 minus 36 is how much?
144.
Good. 8x equals 144. And then our last step, we have to do both sides of the equal sign. Well, we have 8 times x, so what's the opposite of 8 times something? Divide by what number? Good. We do that. So 144 divided by 8 gives us what value? X is 18. X would be 18. Now, do we have to do anything else for this problem? No, because all they wanted was the value of x. I think by accident you added the 36 to get 216. That's how we got the 27. So, all right, other questions on number 8, because I think that might be the hardest of the bunch. All right, next one's going to be a little easier. So, it's going to happen with this next one. And again, it goes back to a couple rules we talked about from last time. I'm just going to really quick delineate in our notes between problem 8 and problem 9. So again, we talked about 2 things. Thing number 1, whenever you have 2 congruent sides of an isosceles triangle, their opposite angles are congruent. So here's what we have going on here. We have a y, we have an x in this triangle. We don't know what this guy is yet. This angle is yet. However, if we just focus on the triangle, let's focus on this triangle right here. Boom, 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 boom. We focus on the triangle. Notice how we have an isosceles triangle, correct? This one's 115? Okay, you're going to be writing the end. That's going to be 115 over here. This side's going to be 115, and that's going to help us get the x. Because if this side is 115, then inside the triangle, what can we designate inside the triangle? So to the right of the 115 inside the triangle, how can we designate this angle right here, the missing one? Okay. All right, so here's what's going to happen. I like where both of you were going. You said it's an x because they're going to be congruent. You said it's going to be 65 because that's 180 minus 115. That's right, too. You both were right, so good job, both of you. Yeah, because in the end, yeah, you both are right because these two, the 115 plus x, has to be 180. No, that's why I wanted both. I'm glad both of you said exactly what you said because, yeah, no, that's excellent. Because they both have to add up to 180. This angle is an x because since they're both opposite or congruent sides, you can label that as the x. But then, this is a linear pair. No, that's good work. Both of you. I'm happy. They have to add up to 180, so you have to subtract 180 minus 115. So, yeah, x is going to be 65. So, great job. So, not only we found out what this angle is, but we found out what this angle is as well. So we did 2 good things. Now, I'm going to draw the triangle, just the triangle part. So I want everybody to see where we're going with this. We're gonna take the triangle part, boom. So I'm just gonna redraw our triangle over here because I don't want it to be as messy. You see where we're going? So we're just gonna take the triangle part. No, I'm very happy right now from what I'm hearing. Boom, boom. This was the X. So we found out what was X. We said X was how many degrees? 65 degrees. So that's 65. This one's also 65. So there's your X, there's your X. We still need Y. How? What's that? I can't hear you. No worries. Okay, but what do we know if we focus on a triangle, either this one or this one? What must the sum of our three angles always be? 180. So let's talk about that. So the other part, we know X, I'm going to separate a little. So X plus Y must add up to what number? 180. So in the end, you would do 2 times 65. That's right. Yes, because 65 plus 65 is 180. I mean 130. So it's 130 plus Y, which is 180. I'm going to fix that a little bit. That's 180. So then by process of elimination, you just do 180 minus 130. Okay, everybody knows that's a 180 behind this mouse marker, right? All right. So yeah, all you're doing is just 180 minus 130. And Valerie, I liked how you said you multiplied 2 times 65 to get the 130. That's a good move. Very good idea. I mean, 65 plus 65 is the same as 2 times 65. So, well, good job. So, yeah, there you go. Y is 50. Boom. And we're finished with this problem. We are finished. So I liked some ideas where I really liked how the tag team figuring out that X is going to be the same angle on the bottom. And we found out X was going to be 65 because of the linear pair. And then that led us to the last part where the sum of the three angles is 180. And that's how we figured out the last angle being 50 degrees. So, and that's what's going to be happening this year. You're going to be given a diagram. You're going to have to look at the clues with the diagrams. The diagrams are going to offer us clues on figuring out or information given the problem that's going to help us determine what all other angles, sides, who's congruent to what. That's going to help us immensely throughout the remainder of the school year. So this is the practice of what we're going to be dealing with the rest of the year. Okay, questions on these two problems? And again, going back to linear pair, going back to the sum of three angles. You're going to deal with it before, we're going to be dealing with it again. All right. Final questions on this problem now. Okay. All right. All right. I don't want. Now, the class advisory is in effect. So I don't want anybody else to get caught with a phone, otherwise you both will lose it. I don't want that. Okay. Otherwise, good job on 9. Yeah. Take it out. Go ahead. Whatever you miss, get from a neighbor. All right, so we're going to work on last page here. All right. Oh, I forgot to get rid of that triangle. But, going to number 10, it's like what we've been doing. What we've been doing all year, or all last couple classes. Now, this one I think you're going to see on your review. Now, look at our diagram. Notice how you have a single arc for your 2 angles, correct? Notice how there's a single arc. So we have a single arc, and these 2 angles on the bottom. And what can we say is the relationship of the 2 sides?
They're going to be the same.
They're going to be the same. They're going to be equal. Congruent. I should say congruent. So these 2 sides are going to be congruent, which means these 2 are going to have the same measure in the end. So for number 10, what's the only thing we have to do with these 2 expressions? What sign are we going to put between the 2x?
Equals.
It's going to be an equal x plus 4. Notice where your x terms are? Opposite sides, so somebody has to move. All right. I'm just going to ask, what's the first step we have to take? And then, go ahead, what do you want to do first, Valerie? That's a very good move. Do the minus x first. Because then, I like that idea. Because what's 2x minus x? 1x or x, yep, both are right. So now we're just down to a 1-step equation. X minus 1 equals 4. So, who can tell us what x is going to be in this case?
5.
Do you agree? 5. All right. Off to that one. Boom. There you go. X is 5. Questions on that problem? Again, that's because since these 2 angles are congruent, opposite sides are going to be congruent as well. You can set them equal to each other. They're going to be the same length, same measure. So. Sides have same length. And that's because opposite angles were congruent. I'm just going to write that here. Opposite angles are congruent. And I just want everybody, and this is only just for reiteration, like, just so we know, anytime we have opposite sides are congruent, opposite angles congruent, opposite sides have same length. So we're going to be, all right, questions on 10. Now, the next problem that you see on number 11, it's going to be a little different. I think they gave us extra information for this problem. So, basically, they told us that these 2 sides here are congruent. So it's this length and that length. Now, the only part we have to worry about, because there's no variables here, but we have variables here. So we're just worried about this triangle. This is the one we're worried about. The 120, the y, and a y. Now, on your test, it's only going to be one triangle. You're not going to have to deal with like a two triangle bit or variable here, variable there. You're not going to have that. I'm not going to put, I will make sure it's just one triangle, one, maybe at most two variables. But that's all we're going to be dealing with. Now, let's focus on just the shaded triangle. Don't worry about this one over here. That's not going to help us in the end. So get rid of that part. Send that part don't exist. Now again, well basically, what's the simplest way? What's the simplest rule we could use to help us get the variable? What do we know about the sum of these three angles? What must be the sum of the 120 and the two y's? They're going to be the same. That's true.
We could do 180 minus 120.
2y plus 21 equals 180.
Okay. So in the end, you're going to, so yeah, I like the ideas. And we'll go with the best idea I heard. And your idea was pretty good too, Catherine. We're going to be dealing with the 180 minus 120 bit. What were you going to say, Valerie? Yep, you can do that as well. So, Des and Valerie, you both were on the right. Yep, you two are right. In the end, that's what's going to happen. The sum of y plus 120 plus the other y will be 180. And in the end, you basically have 120 plus 2y equals 180. So yeah, so you two were both right, and then you were right as well by subtracting 180 minus 120.
Yeah.
We have to do that too. So that's a good step. So I like the thinking, everybody. I really like what I'm hearing. So now we're just down to the 2y equals 60.
And then you would divide 60 by 2.
Yep, 60 divided by 2, we get the 30. Bullseye. Well done.
So y is 30.
Yes, indeed. Y will be 30. I'm just going to put the arrow. Whoop. Y will be 30. Great job. So these were also plus signs. So I don't want anybody to think, oh, that's an X and an X. Yeah, these are actually pluses. You say Y plus 120 plus the other Y, 180. Doesn't matter how we add the 3. And in the end, the Y will be the same, which turned out to be 30. So good work. Great work, team. Any questions on 11? If you haven't done so, get it down. Anybody has questions, feel free to ask. And then we'll talk about, now 12, I don't know if anybody tried it, but it turned out the variable, one of your variables will be a decimal.
Yeah. I'm not going to know the fraction.
Okay, you can leave it as fraction or decimal. Yeah. Yeah, but now this one would be either way. I would have accepted either one. So you gave me the fraction, if you gave me the decimal, I'm down with it. Now, I'm going to make sure on a test you should be getting whole number answers, but I know down the road we're going to be seeing fraction decimals, so I don't want you to rule them out. All right, so we look at number 12. Now, basically, the goal for number 12 is the following. Most important part, I want us to get connections here. What's the connection or connections given our diagram? So let's look at our diagram for number 12 here. Okay, who can tell us why the exit will be 72? Yup. And why else are they going to be the same angle? Why? What tells us that these two angles are going to be? It's okay. Okay, they're congruent, they're equal, I'm agreeing. But why else? Let's look at the whole entire diagram. What else can we say? What else do we know about our diagram here? Okay, what about the y? That's okay. That's all right. That's all right. It's all right. So.
Wait, what do you mean? What is the question asking?
I'm just trying to ask, like, given this diagram, what else? So I agree. You were saying the x into 72. That's 100% correct. That's step number one. That's a minimum. So boom, right away. I'm going to give you that. I was wondering if anybody knew why these two angles were congruent. If anybody could tell us why. What's that? So you're saying these two are congruent? Why is that? Okay, that's good too. That's very good. Valerie's saying the two sides are congruent as well. She's right, because they both have that single hash mark. Bang. They're congruent. Now, since these two sides are congruent, what can we say about these two angles then?
They have to be the same.
That's also but again, I like it we're doing piece by piece. I like the fact that we did, you knew that the two angles were congruent. So quite a few of you said that. So Valerie, Des, you both said that. And then three of you were saying the two sides were congruent as well. And that's right, because they have that single hash mark. That's another, see again, that's clues. That's going to help us. Now, what's one other thing we know? If we have a triangle, we go to the x, the y, and the 72. So one other thing we know. What's the relationship between the x, the y, and the 72? Not equal. What's the relationship between the x, the y, and the 72? They all form a triangle. What's that? Okay, so so then what do we know about the sum of these three measurements? X plus y plus 72. They have to add up to what number?
180.
180. I didn't hear you. Speak up. You're always allowed to speak up. I didn't hear that. But yeah, say it louder. Well, yeah, okay, I'm not gonna say you didn't say it, but I'm glad. But I'm glad we're making these connections. So yeah, in the original triangle, x plus y plus 72 is 180 because that's a triangle. Some of the angles adds up to 180. You agree to that, right? But we already know what x is. What is x? How much? 72, you're right. So you have a 72 plus a y plus another 72 that gives us 180.
36.
Yep, in the end, 36 is going to be that value of y. So you get y plus 72 plus 72 is 144. Oops, equals 180. And then minus 144. Y is 36. So we have our angles now. Z. Okay, Z. That's going to be one of those. Solve on your own. Now, I'll give you the answer. What did you get? How much? 36 over 5, yeah. Okay, so that's all right. Did anybody, what else did anybody or somebody get if they tried it? Was 7.2, so you both were right. 36 over 5 is also 7.2, so I'll give you both that. So that's what's going to happen here. Because if you do everything, what's going to happen is, if you do your moving around, I'm just going to show, like, after the two steps, you would have something like 36 equals 5z. And then in the end, you will get the 36 over 5, which is the 7.2. So after you do your dividing of 5, now, I will make sure on your test, your variables should be whole numbers. They should be, I will check. But this is the case where, yeah, you got a fraction or decimal, I would take either one. I know, unless if I tell you otherwise. All right, questions on this problem? Anybody have questions about this one? Now, there might be cases in the future where, yeah, you're going to get decimals or fractions for responses. I don't want you to think, oh, that's never going to happen. It could happen. All right. So I've got 13 and 14. And then depending on everybody's progress or faith or belief about triangles, we may either do a couple on the back or we may just go to the test review. Yeah. I do have somebody out right now. You have to wait. Okay. Let's do, because we're 13. Yeah, that's 13, right? Yep. All right, I'm just going to use here. Actually, no, I'll go all the way. All right. 13 may not be as complicated as 12. Now, couple things right away. What's a couple things given this triangle, what can we connect? How can we make some connections here? Anybody? So what about the 75 and the 5x, Valerie?
See that little like slash
Here?
That's like to 5x. Like obviously.
Sorry about that. My pen is. Okay. So you're saying that these two are connected?
No, like draw a line like that.
From here to here.
Yeah, and then the other side.
Like this. Okay. All right. So since congruent sides, opposite angles are congruent, so therefore, so what will be the relationship with the 75 and the 5x? Well, what is it again? They're congruent, equal measures. So we can set, I like that first step. So 75 equal to 5x. So okay, go ahead, I'm sorry. Okay, okay, so one at a time, so x is 15, that's a good start. So we said, and this is true because opposite sides are congruent, they have the equal measure. So the 75 and 5x, since they're opposite, those base angles are going to be congruent. You can set them equal to each other. So very strong start there, Valerie. Great draw. Now, what's the plan of attack for the second part of this problem? How do we get the y? What's an idea? Who could tell us? Anybody? Okay, you're on the right track. You said 3y plus 75 was 180. Well, almost. You have two of those angles. Okay, so you have to add that 5x. All right, this is even better. So 100% correct, guys. 3y plus 75 plus 5x is 180. What do we know? We know something. We can make our lives even easier. Do we know a value of either an x or a y? Okay, you can do that. Okay, if we did that first, all right. I'll agree 100%. We can do that. So at the moment, go ahead. What were you going to say?
75
For where? Let's be careful with that. Hold on a second. We're going to do something a little later, but we're going to do something even easier. All right. So we have 3y plus 5x. What's 180 minus 75?
105.
105. That's right, Andy. Good. At this moment, we're stuck. But we can get ourselves unstuck. Do we know the value of x? Well, before we do that, do we know the value of x?
Yeah, 15.
It's 15. So then, yeah, we got to replace that x with 15.
Oh my god.
But that's okay. I'm glad. I know it was a little long, but you know what? It's all about thinking, and it's also about full understanding. So yeah, we have to replace the x with a 15 because we found out right away. And then what's 5 times 15? 75. So now,
No, you didn't know that.
we have 3y plus 75 equals 105. We're just now down to basically two-step equation.
Sorry, plus 75.
So minus 75 on both sides. We have 3y equals what number? 3y.
Oh, 30.
Okay, but now I know where we're going to get the 10, Andy. You're right. And Valerie, you were right too. I heard you say it. 30 divided by 3 is 10. So in the end, the y will equal 10. Again, I like the connections that everybody's making. I like how we're understanding the two sides opposite of the congruent angles are congruent. I also like how the sum of the three angles is adding up to 180. I really like how we're understanding those big concepts. All right. Questions on number 13. All right. Last one that we're going to talk about, 14. And basically, we're just going to talk about quick notes. Like, I'm just going to tell you quick setup. Yeah. So for 14, we have our two congruent angles. So which two sides? Say again? Okay, yeah, we don't need this one in the end. Okay, that's the most important connection here. So we're just finding x. That's the connection. You're right, Valerie. We do not need that bottom side. Since you have your congruent angles, boom. Those two sides are congruent. Boom. 7x minus 13. X plus 29. So I want you all to try that one real quick. Give you all a couple minutes to try it. Get the value of x. And then we're going to start talking about the test review because so finish that up as I start passing around test reviews. So just work on that problem for the moment. What's that? Test review. Unit 3 test review, yeah. Because given what I'm seeing, that last page is just extra practice. The very last page is going to be extra practice. No. You can try it if you want, but you don't have to. The reason why is because I'm liking everybody's progress. I'm liking what I'm hearing. And given that, here's what I'm going to tell you all. This packet right here, this class notes packet, you're going to get a full credit grade for notes. Since given everybody's participating and participating well, you will get a full credit classwork grade. I don't know, I think I might have made it 20 points or something, but given what I'm hearing and seeing, I'd rather save us time from the last that very last page. I'd rather us start focusing on the test because there were concepts, older concepts that we haven't seen in a while. So I want us to focus on the test. I want us to devote more time towards the test because that's a big money grade. That's big points, big value. high ticket. All right. Did anybody get a value of X?
Oh, I did it, 7.
7? 7? Anybody else? You got a 7 too?
7.
Anybody? Who's not sure how we got 14? Anybody not sure? Be honest. You got what you get, Andy?
I got some.
Okay. Annalyn, you finished that too, or you still working on it? All right. Again, X is opposite side, so somebody has to move. Who can tell us real quick?
Minus
You do the minus X.
6.
Good. I'm liking this. There you go.
Then you get X equals 7.
Yep, great job. And then if you were asked, okay, plug that 7 in. 7, 7, 7, and then solve. The two sides should be the same. This one, you're right, we did not need that, this bottom one in the end. If I had asked for it, okay.
And they're
Now-
both the same. Both of them would be 36.
Yep, top two would be 36, and I think the bottom one's 26, but you're right. You hit it on the head, Catherine. 36, 36. That's the most important part. All right, great job. All right. So, given what I've seen, we're not going to worry about those last problems. I want those last 6. You want to try them on the side, try them at home. You can, but I'm not worried about it. I am going to give you full credit for the day 2, day 3 notes. I'll put that in the book. Now, going forward. Let's see where we are. My board's not working. Okay, we'll skip that. Okay, okay, that one we're not going to worry about. Really quick, these two were the homeworks. I'm just going to zoom out for like a minute. This was the homework that I gave everybody from I think it was Monday I gave it to everybody. You should be able to complete it by Friday. Again, you just have 3 problems on the front. These 2 on the back, which we've done quite a bit today and last time. This one is a challenge if you want to try it. Be my guest. Be my guest if you want to try it. You don't have to do it. Just beware of what this last side will be. If you want to try it, you can. If you get it wrong, no harm, no foul. I'm not going to penalize you. So we did a problem very similar to this. Okay. So I'll look at your response. So right or wrong. So if you got it right, okay, you get a couple extra points. If you got it wrong, it's not going to harm you. So that's the way to think about it. Okay. So that's review. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention again. Sorry, I'm going to rewind for like 30 seconds to a minute. This activity, that equation practice activity, that's due for you on data test. Now, if you need an extra day, I'm okay. Because, look, so, I mean, this is going to be quiz grade. Now, some of you might have done it online as well, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Now, if you do need the extra day to like the 18th, I'll be okay with it too. Because the most important part is the Unit 3 test. I want everybody to do really well on it. All right, so this is just a quick reminder. Now let's start worrying about our tests. Unit 3 test review. It's on Tuesday. These are just more notes. This is from like combination of units 1, 2, and 3. These are just little tidbit notes. Go back to rather than looking through all the notes. Well, we're going to start working on this together. So now we're going to start on the test review. Oh, I think I gave an extra. Okay. You have one. You got one. You got one. You have your test review, Randy? All right. You got one, Randy? Alex, you have the test review. Catherine, cool. Okay. I think I accidentally gave you an extra one. Sorry, Jason. Did not mean to. But I took it back so you don't have to do double work. Okay. Okay. So what we have, number one, the perpendicular bisector. Remember, acts like a mirror. From C to D, that's your perpendicular bisector, that's your mirror. Also with a perpendicular bisector, perpendicular line sector, when it touches the opposite side, it's perpendicular. So if there's a perpendicular intersection, what type of angle is formed? Begins with an R. That's a right angle. So that's your perpendicular bisector. Right away, two things take place. Mirror and a 90-degree intersection. So those are the two most important things, because that's going to help us with everything else in this whole problem. Now, a couple things were given to everybody. AD was 6. So where is AD? When we identify the side AD in the triangle, where's AD located? Who can tell us where A to D is located? Left to the middle. So, yep. So AD, you go from A to D. So AD is a side. Sides are going to have two letters. Because remember, a line always needs, you need at least 2 points to connect the line. Will you agree?
Yes.
Anytime you're given 2 letters, that's a side. So AD will be the side. They also gave us, what else was given to us? They gave us AC. Where's AC located? Okay, C is located on the top. Which side, left or right? So from here to here, that's a 10. But now, everything gets easy. You know why? Think of your bisector as a mirror. What other side's 10?
See,
It's going to be directly across from the 10. So, and Jason, you said it. What line? What particular line?
CB.
Okay, so AC is 10. CB, BC will also be 10.
Then DB will be 6 as well.
DB will also be 6. Good. DB is going to be 6. All right, so far so good. I'm liking this. Now let's talk about some angles. Angle B is 50. Which angle is a direct reflection from angle B?
A.
Angle A. So if angle B is 50 degrees,
So is A.
angle A has to be 50. Angle A is 50. Good. Now, this goes back to, remember when we did some identifying? I think it was maybe last week when we had that one day we met last week. Like, given the diagram, identify angle XYZ or angle ACE or whatever. This is a case like that. Measure of angle BDC. Think about it like a map. What letter must we start? Where do we start? Who could tell us? Start at B. Start at B. Where do we go from B? B to D. And up to C. Good. Okay, so we have angle BDC. Well, if we look at our diagram, and the fact that that's a perpendicular bisector, somebody said it earlier. What type of angle do we have here? It's a 90-degree right angle, that's right. That's a 90-degree right angle. It's a 90-degree right angle. Very good. Now, we need one other angle. This last one. It says we start at B. This last one, start at B. Now, do we go to the left or do we go up and left to get to C? Up and left. And then from C to D, which direction do we have to go? Oh, come on, what happened? Go down. Now, let's focus on that triangle to the right. Given what we know about this triangle on the right, I'm just going to redraw it over here so we see it a little better. You got a 50, 90. We don't know what this top angle is yet, but do we have enough information to get it? Can we get that last angle? Of course. Because what must the sum of the three angles add up to be? 180. So basically, it's 180 minus 90 minus another 50. So if we take away 90, then we take away 50 more, how much is left in that angle? How many degrees have we left for that triangle? Okay, so we have 8. 180 is a great total. We agree to that, right? We don't know what this top angle is yet, but we have the other two.
Yeah,
40. Go ahead. Okay, you can do it that way too. You add up your two angles. So 90 plus 50, 140. 90 plus 50. That's 140. And then it's 180 minus 140. And yes, X would be 40. Boom. That's what, I guess that triangle did not want to be there. So yeah, this last angle is going to be 40 degrees. Okay, questions? Questions on that first review problem? We're okay with that, ladies and gentlemen? All right. We'll go to the next problem. We just finished the first one. We're on our test review, okay, Edwin? We just finished the first one. So, we're going to start angle number 2. So then whenever, so I'll let you copy in the boxes, but then you're going to have to figure out, okay, you're going to know how to get those values. But number 2 is going to be similar to number 1. Okay, number 2. Well, angle bisector, similar to perpendicular bisector. There's your mirror. They gave us some information. They said A to A. A to D was 5. So they also told us that this angle ADB, so A to D to B, was 70 degrees. And they told us that as well. Now we need to figure out all this other information. Good news is, we know it. DC is also going to be 5, so that's a good start. DC is going to be 5, because AD is going to go into DC, so that means AD and DC are the same. Okay, angle DAB. Look where we're starting. We start at D. Now D tells us to go where? B to A. And then from A, where do we go? Okay. So, what type of angle is DAB? That's a 90. That's a right angle. Very good. That's a right angle. That's a right angle. So this part is 90. So right now, here's what we know. I'm going to make this, I'm going to draw this diagram here. So we have 70. Oh, that's not going to be big enough. Let me redraw that. In fact, I'm going to draw it over here. That'll make it easy for everybody. All right. I'm just going to redraw that top diagram. A, we said was 90. And then D, we said was 70. ABD, A to B to D. Well, we don't know what it is yet, but can we figure it out? Yes. Careful. All right. How many? What's the sum? What must all three angles add up to be? 180. Okay, where do we get 165 from? So we only add the 90 and the 70. You don't need that 5. You get the 160. That 5 was just the side measurement. And the 90 plus the 70 was 160. And then it's 180 minus 160. Which gives us 20. So angle ABD is going to be 20. Questions on how we got the 20? Who's not sure about how we're getting that 20? Is it all, because it all goes back to, they gave us that angle ADB, which is 70, that was given. Then of course you have the right angle, that's automatically 90. So 90 plus 70 is 160. Then you have to add 20 more to get the 180. Now, here's a bonus. The last one says, what's the angle of ABC? So the last one, they want ABC. Now, ABC, of course, you start from A, you go to B, and then from B, you go down to C. Given this is an angle bisector, they said that this part of the angle was 20. So in the end, you're going to get a 40. Very good. Here's how you got the 40. Well done, guys. Because you go to this triangle, diagram, here's your mirror. So that little angle is 20. That other angle has to be 20. So then what's 20 plus 20? 40. Bingo. That's older stuff. So that was stuff from earlier in the year with the angle bisector. I think that was a Unit 1 concept. Split your angle into exactly 2 smaller angles. That's what happened here. And think about the mirror as well. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, we're going to start it, and then we'll talk about it more next time. I just want to, everybody. So if we go to the next page. Now, anybody have any final questions on problem 1 and 2? Anybody? Any questions on problems 1 and 2? Again, I'll put these up, school you later today, along with a recording. All right, the last thing I want to do. 3A and 3B are going to be the same. Because with the mid-segment and midpoints, remember, the mid-segment or your inner segment which we'll denote as inner, is half the outer or the parallel edge. We had inner, outer, and basically you're following outer is equal to 2 times the inner. That's what you have going on here. So for 3A and 3B, is that outer equals 2 times inner. So no matter what you get, always follow this. That's going to be the key rule for the next couple problems. Now, do we have enough information to get the value of y?
Yes.
We do. Well, if we follow this little equation or our formula, well, what's our outer value?
36.
36 equals 2 times, well, what's our inner value?
I think 36 should be divided.
We're going to be dividing, but for right now, just given what we see, what are we going to first replace the inner with? What variable or expression?
I think we would replace the multiply with the divide.
Let's go real simple. Inner. What variable represents the inner segment? Just the y. So you have 36 equals 2 times y. Now we're going to do a dividing, Kathy. So we divide both sides by what number?
2.
That's all. So then our y value would equal
18.
y. Yep, that's it. I'll just write it down here. 18 is the y value. That's our inner segment. So y is going to equal 18. And then number 4, you just go in the opposite direction. So number 4 is just the opposite. So here you got the inner. No, yeah, it's off of the inner. Or 3B, I should say. Up too far. Here it's just the opposite. Yeah. Yeah, you're fine. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. We'll talk about this one a little more.